All right, a beautiful afternoon, and thanks for joining us again on our program on TV, African Discourse. My name is Evan Sunokugie. Of course, this program comes your way at about this time every Monday, and we look at issues on the African continent, economic issues, political issues, and of course, issues that borders on the African continent, so that you better be informed and you better be enlightened about what is going on in Africa. Well, it is no gainsaying anymore that the war in Sudan has assumed so many dimensions. And of course, some people have said that it is more to say that it has assumed humanitarian dimension. As we speak now, Sudanese, northern Sudanese are dying in their numbers every day because the war in Sudan has kept on intensifying. Now, despite the ceasefire attempts that have been called, even by the two warring factions, talking about the military junta in Sudan as headed by Abdel Fattah Barhan, and of course the head of the paramilitary forces, talking about General Dagalo, the forces that is known as the Rapid Response Forces. These two groups have, decided one time, not even one time, once, two, three times, to kind of call on ceasefire to ensure that they look inward and see how best they can resolve the issues in Sudan. But all these ceasefires have hit the rock.
The rocks.
And of course, people have, continued to die. Sudanese have continued to die in their thousands. Now, what are the issues? How best can this crisis in Sudan can really be ended? Now, it is even heart-taking to know that the forces in Sudan, it looks as if that the forces is not displaying enough capability to really handle the issues in Sudan. We're told that General Abdel Fattah Barhan had to call on young people in Sudan, young able-bodied men in Sudan recently, to please come out and join the army to fight the crisis in Sudan. So that goes to show that the government of the day may not just be able to handle the kind of onslaught that the forces loyal to General Dagalo is giving to the government of the day in Sudan. All right, so today to look at the war in Sudan as it intensifies, and also to try to look at if there are mediations in sight. We've got a renowned international conflict resolution expert with us this afternoon, talking about Mr. Nwita Egbotapo. Sir, you're welcome to the program African Discourse.
Good afternoon, viewers.
You're welcome, sir.
It's a pleasure to be here. All
right, now, so just as we said that the war in Sudan has kept on intensifying, as a matter of fact, about a few days ago, we understand that a lot of persons were killed as a result of the crisis here and there. And some time ago, the last attempt that was made to bring things down in Sudan was the mediation that was initiated by the United States. But yes, that mediation failed. So how can we really get to try to quench the fire that is going on in Sudan, as it were, as it stands today?
Thank you. Quenching the fire. The conflagration, is becoming something else. As we speak, the United Nations, is confused, or seems to be confused. The General Secretary of United Nations Organization, Antonio Guterres, said not too far ago, during the occasion of the United Refugee Day, that the situation in Sudan is getting out of hand. About 500,000 people have been thrown across the border. About 2 million Sudanese are internally displaced. So it's terrible. And the fear that is being expressed by United Nations is so that this conflict will not escalate to neighboring countries. It is getting to that level. So, and I think one of the things that should be done by those powers that control, the key players, the military junta and the other rapid response guy, General Dagalo, I think what they have to do is to flex their muscle. Because in resolving conflict, because we have conflict in several zones in the world before now, even there are some conflicts still going on. One of the ways to get conflict resolved, sometimes you use, extrajudicial means. For instance, we have no fly zone are being obeyed in Sudan. No fly zone, nothing should fly. Nothing should move in the airspace till about July 10 or thereabout. So if the superpower, so to say, the key players, external key players, who are funding them, because these people are being funded, they don't have the ammunitions by themselves. The armament they are using to fight each other to death, to destruction. They don't produce those ammunitions. They are being supplied by those who have interest in Sudan. United States, European powers, even some African countries, Egypt, we know the key players. So one of the things they can do, if they can make no flying zone to work now, they can talk to their boys. Because the people, that supply the arms, they listen to them. Though they make a lot of money, they are buying arms, using the blood of the Sudanese to buy arms. It's so unfortunate. So I think the United States, as a major superpowers, the Soviet Union, who is interested in, Russia, who is indirectly backing the rebel, and some other key players.
Allegedly now.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
But international politics, we know that you are backers. You do that somebody say, I want to go and fight. You are filming. You are grandstanding. And you don't have the means to produce ammunitions. You have somebody that is backing you. So I think those who are backing them should put their legs on the ground. How do they put their legs on the ground? That's if they love the Sudanese people. If they love the Sudanese people, I must put that clause. Because imperialism is at work. Neocolonialism is at work. Sudan is not a free country. Sudan is being manipulated by these two...
by interest groups.
By interest groups. And just as we have said in this program before, the warlords, General Fatah, Bahrain, and the other guy, Dagalo, rapid response, they are not patriots of Sudan. They are not lovers of Sudanese people. These are characters that have thrown themselves up just to enjoy themselves, so to say, to enjoy the fruit of the Commonwealth of Sudan. So they are not patriots, they are not messiahs. I don't sit up there playing any serious game to take Sudan to the next level. That's my opinion.
Okay. Now, on Sunday, we were told that the crisis has escalated to almost all parts of the capital. Now, that's Khartoum and also some major parts of Darfur. A while ago, you talked about interest groups.
Yes.
Now, one thing that has always stood clear in the crisis in Sudan is that interest groups have always denied that they don't have hands in the crisis in Sudan. That is, purely a civil war, an internal issue and all that. Now, if we have these interest groups now, by what we're trying to explain here, that interest groups, they are interested, they are still the people, trying to fear the crisis.
Yes.
And of course, these same interest groups now, they also, they have their blocks in the United Nations and of course elsewhere. So if these same interest groups are also the people that the world is relying on to quench the fire in Sudan, and of course these people are also the people still fearing the crisis, can we ever get to the end of the crisis in Sudan?
If you say, let's get it clear so that viewers don't... You see, what we must get clear, there is imperialism.
Underwritten imperialism.
Imperialism is at work. Neocolonialism is at work. And they have their permanent interest. Their interest is not the Sudanese. We must get it very clear.
What do you think is their interest?
They want to make more money on the carcass of Sudan.
On the resources
of Sudan.
Sudan.
Yeah. And that's why they are following them and things like that. And that's how they say, okay, that's why those guys can even breathe well, the generals, because they have people who are backing them. So if they want to be sincere, because if a United Nations, for instance, United Nations is resigning to fate, so to say, Antonio Guterres, the United Nations organization, is, when I say resigning to fate, okay, we are afraid the thing should not escalate to neighboring countries, humanitarian crisis and all that. If the United Nations is saying that, what are the powers that control the United Nations? The superpowers, United States, France and the other superpowers. If they want the conflict resolved as soon as possible, the conflict will be resolved. That is my position. For instance, when Charles Taylor was running amok in Liberia, Charles Taylor, what did the West do? They saw that Charles Taylor was funding this revolutionary group, for the Sanko. This is
Just go on.
Yeah. The powers then, they saw that Charles Taylor was being, was misbehaving. He was funding for the Sanko, and all that. They said the best thing is to remove Charles Taylor. And they used Nigeria and remove Charles Taylor. So if those United Nations and those superpowers, if they want the crisis resolved, from my understanding of international politics, as a conflict resolution expert,
yeah.
So I think they should devise a means to pick them out. To pick them out, they can pick them down.
Yeah.
That's the major suppliers, the major buyers, backers.
Yeah.
As I said, but they're not interested in the well-being of the Sudanese people. They are interested about their own interests, economic interests. Now, because these people, they are not patriots, they are not messiah.
That's the two generals.
The two generals, they cannot take Sudan to the next level, my brother. Either one of them is just to remove any of them. Remove them from the scene. Or if United States, want to do something drastic, my opinion is to overpower the rebel leader and empower the military, the head of the military junta, and let him, conduct a multi-party election, whether funny, whether artificial or not. When it's artificial or not, the kind of democracy they do. They put their men, they manipulate them, they put them in power. So I think in resolving this crisis, the onus still rests on the United States and other major powers.
Okay. Now,
because they're the ones that can tell these boys or these military, harrows what to do. But as long as they continue to fund them, supply them weapons, because one of the ways to squeeze them or to drive them is to stop supplying their ammunition. You were telling me just now that it's like the rebel leader seems to be having an upper hand. Because it's like he's being supplied enough of these ammunition.
Now, that leads us to want to ask the next question now. What do you make of the insinuations that it appears that General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, that's the head of the military junta in Sudan, is not displaying enough capability to really, put his feet down to handle the situations in Sudan. I mean, a few days ago, the man had to be calling on young, able-bodied Sudanese to please come forward and join the army so that they can save the soul of Sudan from General Dagalo. So what do you make of that?
It shows the man is being dried up. Resources, because one of the main things, okay, for instance, let's look at Russia. The war that is happening
in Russia.
The war, Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine war. Today, Vladimir Putin is facing his greatest challenge to power. Look at the Wagner issue. The other day, a drone landed in the Kremlin. This is something you cannot think of before.
That nobody can even attempt.
A drone drop in the rescue. Now, there was an attempt on military
formation.
Yeah. So the point I'm saying that the war in Sudan is consuming him. And if Putin is not careful, the war in Sudan, the war in Ukraine will swallow his presidency. So, and we've had an occasion when Putin has called for reserves. And it has been, that's enlistment. And he has been using the Wagner guy, General Pogosi or whatever they call him, to recruit,
more hands. Yeah, into the army.
But what we see now is that, for example, in Sudan now, the Sudanese junta is short of, manpower. That is what Putin is facing.
Okay, now
in Russia now.
Yeah, so
that to show that the level of food soldiers, they are already being depleted. So the war is having a toll on him and his government.
Just as it's having a toll on Abdul Baran
yes.
in Sudan.
So if that one is happening to Putin and that one is happening to this, that shows that that's a problem.
All right, so if that's the situation now, Nowita Igbutako, would you want to say that perhaps the crisis in Sudan is necessary after all, maybe to test the military might of General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan? Would you want to say so?
Well, in the first place, does he have a maid where he makes armament?
I mean, no, for somebody in charge of power, one would have expected that, I mean, a military head of, military rulership, one would have expected that he holds the mantle of power.
Because he has been there, and the war in, the civil war is draining him. Because he never expected the war to get to this level. So the war is draining him. And what he does behind the scene, asking for arms, and before that came on for young boys to come and enlist in the army. So I think moving forward, the major powers, they can squeeze these two major contenders for power.
Yeah.
They can squeeze them. Deny their ammunitions, deny the necessary resources, and they don't have anywhere to go. And they can use somebody next to them to remove them. That is one of the things they do, international politics, international superpowers. When they look at the system and they have a problem, they use the next command. So me, I want to challenge the superpowers, if they are really interested to take Sudan to the next level. They should, in the international circuit, there are a lot of games, cards that are available. As I just told you about what happened in Liberia. Chancellor was taken away. And when Chancellor was taken away by conspiracy and what have you, Obasanjo was part of the conspiracy, and they took him away. Before there was an election. This lady came in Libya. In Liberia.
And the former president.
Former president, Alison, whatever.
Yeah.
So one of the ways, as a conflict resolution, practitioner, because the situation in Sudan now, dialogue has failed.
Ceasefire is not working out. Because
in conflict resolution, there are processes. You have conflict transformation, you have peace building, you have mediation, all sorts of tools to resolve conflict. But these two cannot work when the players are not ready to talk. How do you resolve conflict when the guys are not ready to talk? So that's the thing. Yeah. So for me, international, manipulators, I use the word manipulators, if they really love Sudan, you should divide the means. It's two things I'm looking at, which has worked elsewhere. They should divide the means to take either the military junta away.
The head of the military junta, take him away.
Take him away from the scene.
If they do, then it means that General Dagalo may have won.
he may not have won. They can take him away. Somebody else who will be ready to negotiate or something. Or they supply General Bahrain, whatever, the head of junta, enough ammunition to overwhelm this guy. Because in war, that is what is available. It is the strategy you can put in place to overwhelm your opponent. So if the West, I'm still saying this word because it's very critical. Because when Hitler went berserk in Europe after 1945, there was Nuremberg war trials. Nuremberg committee succeeded because those guys, they were caught, they brought them to the table. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But these guys, they're not ready to talk. So what that means they can do is take them away. You suppress them with also military might and take them away. If the United States and other powers that are backing General the head of military junta, if they are really sincere to take Sudan to the next level, this is my position.
Okay. All right.
They should, strengthen the junta to overpower this guy, so that they now has a guy to conduct whether general election, go to democratic process and all that.
Okay.
I think that's the way out. If not, this did done will continue. United Nations is already disillusioned about the war in Sudan.
Okay. All right, so our viewers out there, you still staying tuned to African Discourse on independent television. And we are looking at the unending crisis in Sudan, how mediations have come, and how those mediations may not have, kind of handle the issues. Ceasefires here and there have been called upon, and of course none have, handled the issues in Sudan. Now, when we return, we're going to be looking at why these ceasefires have failed. Because the two warring generals in Sudan, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and General Dagalo, they've also always said that each time they call for ceasefire, that they just find out that their supporters go ahead to, destroy things here and there, and of course, bomb blast here and there. So when we return, we're going to be looking at, it appears that these two army generals, that they don't even have control over their subject. So we're going to be taking it from there. All right, so let's quickly take a short pause now, and when we return, it is still the same program, African Discourse on independent television. Please hold on. All right, thank you so much. Here the program is still African Discourse on independent television, and we'll have very renowned conflict resolution experts, Nwita Igbotako, here in our studio today, and we're looking at the ongoing crisis in Sudan. And for like 13 weeks now, that's about three months and about 2 weeks now, 3 months, 2 weeks, the crisis in Sudan has been on. And from all indications, it seems it is not going to stop in any way. One thing that may have been responsible for the crisis to have been on is the fact that each time the ceasefire has been called, we find out that supporters of the two warring generals in Sudan, it doesn't mean anything to them. We still find airstrikes and of course bomb blasts here and there. As a matter of fact, one of the very first ceasefire that was called upon, that was the very day that some subjects loyal to General Dagalo were alleged to have attacked some military formations and of course some medical centers in Khartoum, that's the capital of Sudan. So if this continues, how long, how do we go in the attempt to try to bring about peace in Sudan? All right, so Nwita Igbotako, now the subjects of these two generals are also adding to some of the problems in Sudan. Ceasefires have been called here and there, and it doesn't mean anything. Ceasefires are not obeyed. So if we have this situation, now you may have preferred some solution that one of the generals has to be taken away.
Take away or, okay.
What about the subjects? Can you take all the subjects of the subject that you pronounce a ceasefire, and of course it doesn't mean to them? Supporters of either of these generals now, they don't understand what ceasefire is during war. So can you take them away too?
You see, in the international circles, what the superpowers do, they have their agents that give the information. If they are taking anybody away, they already know somebody that will
replace him.
So now that, okay, let me quickly say this. Have you forgotten what happened in Afghanistan? That's what I'm saying. You know, talking about the foot soldiers of these key players, I know they are not obeying their leaders.
The ceasefire, yeah?
Because they don't want them to obey the ceasefires.
You know, the key...
It's a deliberate... you see...
Even the two generals now, they don't want they don't
want the ceasefire to work. That's why their soldiers, their subordinates are flouting the peace process. They're making it not to work. You understand what I mean? When after they sign a peace, accord, then the two will not work. Because they did not pass the information to their subordinate to obey. Because they have the command structure. They don't want the thing to work. So it boils down to what I've been saying. Because there are instances, there are case studies around the world. If America could go to Afghanistan, you know what America spent in Afghanistan? To drive the Taliban away. Have you forgotten? Before they now discovered that maybe it was a misadventure. They are wasting their resources, there's nothing special in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Before they retrace their steps. If the United States and co. want peace in Sudan, I say it with all seriousness, they will harm the head of the military junta to the teeth to overwhelm this guy.
Yeah, when we say United States now, I think we also need to be careful because
this is a key player.
Let's say United Nations.
It's a superpower.
United Nations.
United States is a superpower.
But United Nations, because for some people,
the United Nations is it working for the head of the United Nations organization, Antonio Guterres, to tell the whole world some 24 hours ago that this matter is getting out of hand. The head of the United Nations, the Secretariat, has told the whole world. Then there's a problem. So if in resolving conflicts all over the world, is the superpower that take the initiative. It's very clear. The superpower will take the initiative. Those who are interested in the conflict situation, that they won't take the initiative for good or for bad. So I challenge them to take initiative in Sudan to read the Sudanese people. I think that's the way out.
Okay.
Because this is just ding dong, ding dong. I know there are forces supplying, there are forces, supporting the rebel.
Yeah.
General Dagalo, whatever. Yeah. I know. But in the international policy, you resort to arms. Muzzle. You flex your muzzle. In international policy, they don't regard dialogue as such. They have to use some element of brutality to get their way. That's the fact of the matter.
Okay. Now,
so, but since this is not working, because in international relations, conflict resolution process, as I said, it involves mediation, negotiation, arbitration, conflict. There are experts that handle conflict situation. When the people are not ready to talk, how do you know how to resolve conflict? You resolve conflict with grammar. So the superpowers will help Sudan.
Okay. Now,
in helping them, they should devise strategy. They know what to do.
Yeah, before we go to the superpowers,
they know what to do.
Let's look at the posture of the African Union. Because
African Union is never say anything. I can't mention African Union since.
Yeah,
the African Union it seems to be dead in this matter. Because now the United Nations organization is only concerned by the African countries now. They are afraid that before it will escalate to neighboring countries. Guterres, United Nations Secretary General, is afraid that how do we do it so that it don't escalate? So they don't bring greater crisis to African continent. Where are the African Union? The other days, African leaders, they said they want to go to Moscow and Kyiv.
Ukraine, yeah.
And Sudan is burning. Can't see Ramaphosa and co and the so-called they go to they've gone now. What did they achieve? We said it here. They wanted to present a peace proposal, and they dropped it in Kyiv. They dropped the other one in Moscow, and they went away.
Okay, let us also look at the position of Nigeria. Nigeria is considered to be the big brother of, Africa. Political big brother, economic big brother, and all that. Now, I know that we just had our elections. So during the elections and all that, we had to prepare for that election. But thank God we had a seamless election now. And of course, we have a new president, who has been sworn in. So big brother Africa, Nigeria, don't you think we should have a role in trying to mediate between these two generals in Sudan?
Normally, we're supposed to have a role, but the kind of character that is Nigeria's president.
No, let us look.
We need visionary leaders.
Let us look at the government. Let's look at our role as a nation to the African continent.
When you say government, there's a head of government. There's a president. There's a presidency. There was General Babangida at a time. We remember ECOMOG and what have you.
In Liberia, yeah.
So when some of these guys were campaigning, did they mention anything about foreign policy for Africa? When we have a president?
No, when we say foreign policy in Africa is statutory. I mean, it's.
But you must have strategy. There will be strategies to maintain peace in Africa or maintain peace with your neighbors. The presidency in Nigeria, what I see, does not know whether Sudan exists.
You cannot say so. You cannot say so that he doesn't know that Sudan exists.
What I mean by that phrase, that the president of Nigeria is not interested in Sudanese matter. If he's interested, he will have done one or two things. And that is a minus for this government. Because if a United Nations General Secretary is afraid, is worried that the crisis in Sudan may spill to Africa and cause another greater crisis. Is Aso Rock not worried? Is President Tinubu not worried? Must Africa continue to burn from Sudan and close to Ghana before the Nigerian presidency will start to talk? There's no policy statement for the Nigerian government on Sudan. It's so sad. If you don't want to commit resources, can't you flex some muscle that Nigeria is a big country, the largest country in Africa? This president has not said a thing about Sudan.
Let's come.
It is a minus. It is a minus for this government. My brother, I'm telling you, it's a minus because it's a minus. But we are talking of Africa and misplaced priorities.
Yeah, the government just came on board. I mean,
we came on board.
Barely just
it's not
now. So
it's not an excuse, my brother. It's not an excuse. If external powers are worried, external powers, they are worried about Sudan, Africans should be worried. It's laughable. We said it here. When my pastor led their group, said they were going to that day. What can they put up a body to in Africa and see to what could be done? Let's face reality. Well, that's why we're going to meet some leaders at Hamed Secretary of Guinea, Kwame Nkrumah, Jamal Abdel Nasser of Egypt, Seydou Keita of Mali. These are nationalist African leaders who saw beyond Africa, who saw beyond their countries, and they maintain a balance. But we don't have them in Africa any longer. Where is the African Union? Sudan is burning. Where is the African Union? What are they doing in the African Union? They cannot prevail on what is happening in Sudan. Antonio Guterres is not the one troubling himself and the entire world. United Nations. I want you to see from this angle. I think we should help our brothers. When you say help your neighbors and the rest. Yeah, what Africans doing about Sudan? Yeah, I said it's an issue, my brother. It's an issue.
I know it's an issue.
What is Africans doing about Sudan? I miss Kwame Nkrumah. I miss Hamed Secretary. I miss Haile Selassie. These are visionary, missionary leaders. Though they have their shortcomings. But when they are in a peculiar situation, somebody should play a role.
Now, let us also look at it from another angle now. A while ago, you talked about ECOMOG. And all
Yeah, there was ECOMOG.
There was ECOMOG because of...
Can't there be another strategy, my brother? Can't there be this my position? Another strategy to come in place? That gone. Yeah, ECOMOG and co. Can't African leaders, can't Nigerian leaders, can't Nigeria as a country? Can't President Tinubu initiate a network?
Yeah, if we have to look at it from the angle of ECOMOG now, ECOMOG,
that was at that time.
ECOMOG probably was successful because of the economic relevance and importance that outfit had to draw to Nigeria and also to Liberia and all that. But Sudan is far away from Nigeria now. We're talking about a country in the far north of Africa, and of course Nigeria, down far west Africa, on the continent of Africa and all that. So it's far.
It's far, so, agreed. But can't African leaders, can Nigeria lead a pack, even if there are no interests? In the spirit of brotherhood, the spirit of big brother, as we said. Every quote. Yeah,
big brother.
Big brother.
Nigeria.
Can you say, okay, I'm not interested in Sudan, okay, where for where is Sudan? Where for what is special about the Nile? We don't, you know. So, they don't have for here, then Sudan again. So South Sudan taking over, but if this conflict, it has a spiraling effect on the whole of Africa. If the United Nations is worried and humanitarian continue, that's a problem. So I think African leaders should do something. So I'm going to challenge an African leader that will wake up, like the Ramaphosa group that they want to kill and Moscow.
Yeah, Cyril Ramaphosa is probably because his country is also far from Sudan now.
But they show it. But they went to Moscow and Kiev.
Yeah, we know. But let's look at countries around Sudan. We have Egypt is there, and of course we have one or two other African.
Egypt, Algeria. All
these are neighboring
countries.
Now the implication of the crisis in Sudan on these countries now is enormous. There's no doubt about that. Take, for example, Egypt, who is almost the next door.
I'm even surprised that President, is it RICC, what was that his name?
Yeah.
In Egypt. He seems to be saying nothing.
The Prime Minister now.
He's the president.
Yeah.
But former general now became.
Yeah. So,
and he's a close guy to the junta, the military junta. They are friends. So I'm sure they're the ones supporting, you know. So I don't understand.
Supporting the war in Sudan?
The RICC of Egypt is supporting the head of the military junta, General Bahrain.
Bahrain, yeah.
They are friends. They are best of friends. We have looked at the thing. They are best of friends. So they have their interest. So if the war is dragging on, they should find a way out. As I said, there are two strategies that has worked positively or negatively.
Now, either you take any of the war.
Take any of them away or fund one of the guys. Let them overpower the other one. Now, so now, okay, when there was the Nigerian Civil War, the Britain don't support Nigeria.
Okay. When we talk about funding either of them,
when I say funding,
from your own wealth of experience and all that. Now, the two generals, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and General Dagalo. Now, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan is saying that, look, we cannot have a civilian rule now. We should have a civilian rule now. Why General Dagalo is saying that we cannot have a civilian rule now. That's the basis of the crisis in Sudan. So from those two explanations and analysis, so which one would you want to suggest? That if there's going to be any external help, any external support or whatever, which of them do you think should be supported to overpower the other?
I think this is support the guy in Khartoum.
The guy in Khartoum, that's the head of the military junta now, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan.
Yeah. They should support him, let him, destabilize, let him overwhelm the rebel, just like what we had in Nigeria, Nigerian Civil War. Ojukwu was disorganized. Ojukwu was removed from the scene by military might. That's how I told you, international relations. There must be a might. You don't. There's an extent where English language or Quran, whatever, can work. Is
might.
Might. There's no. I don't mention names. We can mention instances over the world. I told you about Afghanistan. United States went there with all the might. They changed the power. They did everything. The place is elusive. I say, Taliban, come and have your country back.
So why is the United States not going with all the might now? Is it
That's what I'm saying.
Scared?
No, they are saying they are not concluded.
Are they scared of?
No, they are still studying the situation.
Do you think the U.S. is scared of the Russian interests?
No.
You know, it's alleged that Russia is interested.
Or in the rebel.
Dagalo.
I know now.
Supporting Dagalo.
Okay, but now, Vladimir Putin is even in crisis, as I said. The man, the Wagner guy almost knocked him out of that coup now. The guy was almost in Moscow.
Yeah.
Viewers, the head of the Wagner military group, that private military, the guy was almost taking over Moscow. The guy had to change his mind. This guy in, what is his name? I told him, please, so, you understand? So, Vladimir Putin is having a problem in his hands. So if the West, through NATO, could frustrate him, they have frustrated him. I see Putin leaving Ukraine in shambles. In a few, just mark what I'm saying. Because the Wagner guy is a force. And the guy has left the scene.
Okay, let's,
So my proposal,
your
to viewers,
you propose to now,
is that whichever of the superpowers,
whichever of the two generals,
anyone both sides can take away. But I want to advise the United States should bring its might heavily, harm General Bahrain to the teeth with all whatever it needs, flog this guy, then settle whatever. Pseudo democracy, that's what we've seen all over Africa.
Yeah, makeshift
democracy.
Makeshift
democracy. It's not democracy, it's not democracy. Well, let's put something that resembles democracy, stabilize the country. Stabilize the country for the interest of the Sudanese. Just put a semblance of stability. United Nations said 500,000 people, they are across the borders, displaced, 500,000. 2 million are internally
displaced. Yeah.
That is a crisis of the highest magnitude. So, as I said, if the West want to help Sudan, because what we are saying is not chess, it's might that must work here. It is after might has worked, they can't bring people to come and talk. That is the situation now. The conflict resolution, before you start talking about peace building, talking about conflict transformation, talking about negotiation, all those terminology in conflict resolution that we know. You must create the atmosphere for peace now. So the superpowers must create the atmosphere for peace, for further negotiation. They should put their, not just say that the allies should put their hands, their legs heavily in Sudan. That is when peace will come not too far away. Okay. But they don't put their legs on the ground or take away their General Bahrain if they think he cannot listen. Taking away, you is subordinate. Let him do what they want to do. They know how to do it. Okay. Taking away involves several process. They can eliminate the guy, or they can do internal coup and put their guy who they can use as robots.
Okay, let's look at the humanitarian aspects of the crisis now as we draw the curtain on the program today. Now, there's no doubt that I don't want to use the word either of them, but I think somebody is going to face war crime charges after the crisis in Sudan. Because as we speak now, a lot of persons, just like what you said, that a lot of persons are eternally displaced. A lot of children may not get back to their parents. Never in life in Sudan. That's how the war has degenerated. Now, the issue of humanitarian aspect of the crisis, it calls for concern, and it's only very, very pitiable that these two warring guys, they, for the very first time that we are seeing a crisis that is of this dimension, humanity
it's not the first time. It's kind of side cases though. But it's about in recent times.
In recent times.
Start the Liberian issue, start the Ethiopian, Eritrea issue, and several, the UNITA in South Africa, you know, so we can set issues. But
right, so
about the recent
time. So
recent time.
let's pick it up from there. The humanitarian aspect of the crisis in Sudan.
What to do?
Yeah, what to do?
Yeah, the United Nations is already talking, already appealing to world leaders to come to the aid to bring humanitarian you know,
aids and
assistance.
support.
They're already doing that. There was all the humanitarian days on 48 hours ago, where some issues were discussed. That save Sudan. That campaign has started.
But each time ceasefire has been called in Sudan, nobody has heeded. I mean, airstrikes, you know, bombardment.
But now, the no-fly zone is working for the first time. Nobody is flying now in Sudan. So and that's a major achievement. So if they can achieve that, then they should go extra mile, as I said. Because if not, the thing will continue to dig down. This thing will go on for another 1 year, nothing will happen. So the Western power, they should devise a strategy. They know what to do. International relations, we know what they call espionage. What we call conspiracy, international conspiracy, organism. International conspiracy organism is there in international politics. They know what to do. If Washington is ready, when I say Washington, if Joe Biden is ready, and his men. Because you know what, international relations.
Yeah, a while ago you talked about recent colonization. That's one of the best ways now to describe what is going on in Sudan.
It is going on.
Now, the question I'm asking is that we always make reference to the Western power.
We're vulnerable.
We're talking about issues on the African continent.
Because they are the ones.
Can't we look inward? Don't you think we should be able to provide solution, you know, as Africans from our own continent? Don't you think so?
How can African provide solution when a President Tinubu is not even interested?
We are not talking about.
I'm coming.
Tinubu now.
There's a superpower in Africa.
I know.
When a President Tinubu is not interested,
outside President Tinubu, we have other African leaders.
Why is Cyril Ramaphosa not interested in Sudan? Why is he interested in Kiev and Moscow? No vision. That's why I miss characters that I've not told you. Abdel Nasser, the man that led the Egyptian revolution in 1959, 1957, 59. You know, that's why I miss Kwame Nkrumah. I miss Emperor Haile Selassie.
Okay.
These are wonderful leaders that saw beyond their country. We don't have any of them now. We have leaders who don't have vision, who don't have mission, whose character are dented. Whose background, I'm not mentioning names now.
That's your own
whose characters are dented. I don't want to mention names.
It's your opinion.
They came to power through, funny process. So I challenge African leaders to wake up and see what they can do in Sudan. Because the African leaders are not doing nothing.
Okay.
And if the international powers want peace to come easily in Sudan, they should implement one of those strategies. Okay. Take somebody away, or put your full might and clear the zone. Let them put their funny democracy.
So that at least at the end of the day, peace returns to Sudan.
To some extent.
All right, so I want to say a very big thank you to Nowita Igbotako. Always exciting anytime we have you on the show. An international crisis resolution expert.
Thank you.
Somebody that is also very, very interested in African politics. A very big thank you, Nowita, for finding time to come on the show. All right, so that was the program this week on Independent Television. My name is Evan Sunokugi, and the program is going to return same time next week on this channel 52 on the ultra high frequency band. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.